Hi, in this video I will try to explain the phase system used in Choreographed, cued Ballroom Dance. If you just want to know how to tell a beginner dance from an intermediate dance, that's easy. Look at the color of the dance title. Click on the link above for a quick guide. If you're new to this activity, you're probably wondering why some dances we've color-coded as green, beginner, are phase 2, some are phase 3, and others are phase 4. If you're a new student, you may be confused as to why you started your lessons with phase 3 and not phase 1. To understand why, we need to go back to the beginning. Early on in the history of this activity, it became clear that some sort of grouping was needed for figures, so that choreographers would know which figures they could use for a particular level, and dancers could know whether a particular dance was one they could do. Meetings were held, and these groupings were created. They called these groupings phases, and started, of course, with phase 1. However, it turned out that there really weren't enough figures in phase 1 to do any useful choreography, so phase 1 just sort of faded away. They also chose to incorporate what was then the standard order of teaching rhythms into the phase system, so they started what were then the first rhythms taught, two-step and waltz, with phase 2. Well, okay, phase 1, but we know how that turned out. As new rhythms were added, these were considered more advanced, and they chose to start these with phase 3. Some that they considered very advanced started with phase 4. Over the years, however, the standard order of teaching has evolved, and many students start with rhythms, such as rumba and cha-cha, that begin with phase 3. And that's why your beginning rumba class is phase 3, not phase 1. But this makes for a lot of confusion for newbies, which is why the Dance Demo channel uses a color coding system based on the level within each rhythm. This is because phase numbers can be used as a guide to dance difficulty within a given rhythm, but not between rhythms. Okay, fine, but what are all those plus numbers following the phase level? This is where the phase system really shines. The folks who set this up recognize that students don't suddenly jump from one level to the next. They learn the next level gradually, and choreographers will want to incorporate these next level figures into dances before the students have completed the next level. So, they came up with a clever solution. Choreographers are allowed to use one or two figures from the next level without having their dance scored as being at that higher level. For example, a choreographer working on a phase 3 rumba might use two figures from phase 4 rumba, and this dance would be scored as phase 3 plus 2. If the choreographer uses more than two figures from the next level, or any figures from the level above, the dance automatically moves up a level. Okay, so what about the other plus? What does phase 3 plus 2 plus 1 mean? Well, choreographers are clever, creative people. They sometimes come up with new figures, or use figures developed elsewhere in the dance world that haven't been incorporated into the phase system yet. These are then indicated by the second plus number. So that rumba phase 3 plus 2 plus 1 is a rumba that uses primarily figures from phase 3, but borrows a couple from phase 4, and has one unphased figure. Choreographers typically list what these plus figures are at the top of the cue sheet, and cuers will often read this when announcing the dance. For example, this is A Time for Waltz, Waltz phase 3 plus 2 plus 1. The plus figures are Weave to Banjo, Diamond Turn, and Syncopated Vine. This allows the dancers to recognize immediately whether they know the required figures. It's a great system, really, but yes, it would be less confusing if all the rhythms started with phase 1. But hey, you can't have everything in life. For our color coding system, we tried not to assume any particular teaching order or apply our own opinion of the inherent difficulty of any rhythm. We tried to stick to the order of the groupings as much as possible. For example, we designated beginning West Coast swing dances as green, even though West Coast swing starts with phase 4 and is generally, at least currently, considered an advanced rhythm. But who knows, maybe someday students will start with West Coast swing. We had to make an exception with Foxtrot. Since phase 3 Foxtrot shares most of its figures with phase 3 waltz, and phase 3 waltz is blue, it makes sense to use blue for phase 3 Foxtrot as well, even though phase 3 is technically Foxtrot's lowest level. But other than that, green is the first level of the rhythm, blue is the second, tan is the third, and flame is a very advanced dance. But we always give the phase information as well for those who, like you, know what it means.